Okay, we are recording. Okay, welcome to our team call. It is June 22nd, and I want to introduce you all to my amazing daughter, Mindy Bond. And we're all here, well, a lot of us are here because of Mindy, because I took Juice Plus for a few months, and I didn't connect the dots between what was happening in my body and those crazy little plant capsules that I was taking. And I told her it was dumb and it cost too much and I was going to cancel it. And Mindy said, "Whoa, hang on a minute." And because Mindy was there, she helped me to connect the dots between more energy, better sleep, less colds, and plant capsules, and got me to order my next box. And there's been no going back since then. And so thank you for that.
You're welcome.
It was her love for science in the beginning that kept me taking it. Otherwise, a lot of you would never have heard about Juice Plus, except Mindy said, "Hold up."
Yep.
So here we are. Mindy now is a nurse. She's been a nurse for
13
years. Mindy Bond, RN, BSN, CPN. She's got all the fancy letters behind her name. She is a pediatric ER nurse in our local ER. And many of the times that she works, she's a charge nurse there. And I just hear the coolest stories about the way that Mindy is impacting lives in the ER. Thank you for your service. I know it takes a lot out of you, and we're grateful for that. And Mindy, of course, has a special love for the science, and it just flows from her, right? So I want her to share her excitement about the science with us in hopes and knowing that it's going to help us to talk to our customers and prospects a little differently. So, Mindy, should we share screen and get to my website?
Yes, that's what I was just going to say.
All right, you start talking, I'll work on that.
So, like she said, I really love science. I always have. That was one of the reasons I pursued nursing, was I really loved science. So, I watched her start taking Juice Plus and see some pretty dramatic changes. And I hadn't really looked at the science yet. But when I started to later, because of the results she was seeing, I was blown away. So I just really love the science, and I'm excited to chat with you about it a little bit tonight.
And if you have questions, go ahead and put them in the chat.
Yes.
And then I will try to keep my eye on that as well.
Perfect. So I am just going to kind of highlight some of the most important and most exciting pieces of the research. I have read a lot of these studies, but not all of them. And I am happy to answer specific questions before, during, after. I guess I can't ask them before because I wouldn't know what the question is. But, during and after work.
They do.
Okay. So what I love about our company, one of the many things, is that they focus on clinical research instead of advertising. So they put their dollars towards supplying Juice Plus products to be researched by independent organizations. And so what's important about that, and one of the concerns you will sometimes hear from people is, well, if they pay for the research, how can it be unbiased? Which is a great question to ask, because if your research is biased, it's useless. So Juice Plus obviously pays for, they supply the product, the capsules or the complete or whatever is being researched, but they give it to a third party, and then they have no control over how the study is conducted and what the results are. And so you can tell that by reading the research, which I have done. And the cool thing is you all have this on your website. This is just mom's mhurley.juiceplus.com. So you all have this public facing website that you can share, and you can access all of the articles if you want to be a science nerd like me and read them all. They're all there. So What they started with when they started doing research 20 years ago, you can see this first one is 1996, was bioavailability. And what that means is when you take Juice Plus, does it do anything? Does it get into your bloodstream? Does it get into your cells? Is it available for your cells to use the nutrition? Because I think we all know sometimes we take vitamins and they just go right into the toilet. You'll see your pee is a different color, it smells funny, whatever. That's because it's just your kidneys see it as a toxin and it's just getting flushed right out of your system. So, what's the point if that's happening? So, they started with, is the nutrition bioavailable? Does it get into your body? Can your body use it? Can it recognize it as nutrition? Because it's not, it has been modified a little bit. It's been juiced, basically, and dehydrated. So they did research starting in 1996 and then moving forward 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19 times have they shown that the nutrition in Juice Plus is bioavailable, which is just spectacular research. They have researched many different people groups, young, old, Caucasian, Asian, the military, nurses, all sorts of different people groups, as many different people groups as they could find. Even kids, there's a Journal of Pediatrics article. And so they look at things like beta carotene levels. So we all know when you eat a carrot, you have more beta carotene available to your cells, and it's good for your eyes and probably other stuff too. And beyond that, we're not really sure, right? Well, so they check things like beta carotene, and the levels do go up a statistically significant level time and time again, all these different nutrients. So that is spectacular, and that's super important because if that's not happening, there would be no point to taking Juice Plus. So 19 times they've shown it's bioavailable, which is spectacular. So that's topic number 1. And that's kind of the foundation for all the rest of this.
Could you explain what gold standard research is?
Yes. So gold standard research in the scientific clinical community is double-blind, randomized, placebo-controlled, which sound really fancy, right? Double-blind meaning neither the researchers nor the participants, so that's the double, blind, neither party can know who's taking what. Because if I know I'm the one taking Juice Plus, or I know I'm the one taking the placebo, that can influence the results. So double blind means neither the researchers nor the participants know who has real Juice Plus and who has placebo. So it removes some of the ability to bias the results. So double blind. Randomized, meaning which group gets placebo, which group gets Juice Plus. Totally random. It's not chosen by the scientists. It's not chosen by anyone. It just is. And then placebo controlled, meaning you have equal groups approximately who take Juice Plus and who take capsules with green and red powder that don't accomplish anything. They're not fruits and vegetables. So that you can compare apples to apples, so to speak, except it's apples to not apples because it's a placebo.
And what about crossover? Do you know about that?
Not really. Not enough to explain it.
Okay, so crossover is that
that they split. Yeah, that's not always the term they use.
Okay, sometimes that happens. I know that they've done that. I don't know how many studies it's in, but halfway through the study, they'll switch and have the placebo people get actual Juice Plus, and the Juice Plus people get placebo just to see what happens, and then they learn different things from that. So there's a lot of cool stuff that goes on with the research.
So some of the research studies are crossover, but pretty much all of them are double-blind, randomized, placebo-controlled. And that's what makes it gold standard research, because that removes so much of the potential for bias, and it makes the results more statistically significant to do that, which is what we want. We want significant results. So, did I answer your question?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
So next up, dental health. And I know I've heard some of you share in your own lives what you've seen in your dental health, but they have two research studies showing that it improved, one of them shows it improves pocket depth, which is how deep your gums are in relation to your teeth. And so they saw positive results there. And then the other, the periodontology study is on wisdom teeth extraction. And so they showed after a surgical procedure, wisdom teeth removal, that the parties taking Juice Plus had faster healing and better healing and less pain, which is super cool. So that is dental health. Heart health, I could do like a whole hour just on that one. So I'll try to be abbreviated, but it's really, really cool, you guys. Like for real. So I think my most favorite clinical research study of all of them, and there's almost 40.
I think
40?
I think we're at 40 now.
I think the Omega study might have been 40. A lot. There's a lot of studies. This one might be my most favorite. This Journal of the American College of Cardiology, done at the University of Maryland School of Medicine. And something else you should know about some of these journals, some of them are incredibly prestigious, and it is impossible to buy your way into publishing in these kinds of journals. Like the Journal of the American College of Cardiology is not going to tolerate subpar research or subpar results. It has to be spectacular for them to publish it. It has to be big. So that's amazing. So the Journal of the American College of Cardiology, this is one of my favorite studies because I'm going to make you look at this one because it's that good. I promise. The effect of supplemental phytonutrients, Juice Plus, on impairment of flow-mediated brachial artery vasoactivity after a single high-fat meal. Makes perfect sense, right?
Bless you.
Makes perfect sense. Okay, in real language, they fed everybody super high-fat McDonald's breakfast to see what would happen. So I love this because we all know we're supposed to eat fruits and vegetables and they're really important and they do good stuff for us, right? But real life, I really like pizza and cheeseburgers, you guys. And, you know, whatever your choice of food poison is, you know, we all have those things we really, really love. I ate a pint of ice cream for dinner last night, okay? So this is what I love about my Juice Plus is I try to do good. I ate a salad for dinner tonight, you know, to make up for ice cream for dinner last night. But we're all going to live life. We're going to have parties. We're going to eat fun things, all of that. And so Juice Plus is protecting my body when I don't make good choices or I can't. I also work 14 hours in the ER some days, and I can't always eat plants. Sometimes I don't get to eat at all. So I love that this is taking care of my body. So they took, let's see, they fed everybody a high-fat meal, and they wanted to see what would happen to their brachial artery constriction. So your brachial artery is in your arm, and after a high-fat meal, you tend to have constriction or shrinking of that blood vessel. So maybe normally it's this big, and then you eat a high-fat meal and it shrinks, it gets this big. And so then if you have blood clots or you have a chunk of cholesterol floating around and your vessels are smaller, it's more likely to get clogged, and that causes heart attacks and strokes depending on where that blood clot or chunk of cholesterol or whatever lodges and cuts off blood flow. So that's bad, right? We don't want those things. We like blood flowing everywhere. All of it needs blood flow and oxygen. It's our friend. Mom taught me that. Oxygen is our friend.
Yes.
I didn't have to go to nursing school for that one. So they fed everyone a 900 calorie, 50 gram fat meal, 38 healthy volunteers. They all took Juice Plus for 4 weeks. And they had 3 groups. They had placebo group, and they had the red and green group, the fruits and veggies, and then they had all three, the red, green, and purple group. Omegas didn't exist yet when they did the study, or I'm sure they would have added that in. So what they saw is spectacular, and I'm scrolling through to find the graph to show you because it communicates so much better. Okay. If you learn one thing tonight, this graph should be it. It's that good. So on this graph, you have the black line in each is day 0. So, everybody had lots of constriction of their brachial artery after that high fat meal. They're pretty close to the same. There's a little bit of variability, but they're all pretty similar. So the stripy one, that's the official term, is stripy, is at 21 days. And the white bar is at 28 days of taking either the placebo, the reds and greens, or the reds, greens, and purples. So what you can see is the group taking just the reds and greens, after 21 days, they had, like a ballpark of half the constriction, the shrinking of the artery. That's a big deal. That's awesome. And then another week of Juice Plus, it was a little bit better still. That's amazing. But look at the purples. When you add the purples in, they make a big difference to how much constriction there is of your arteries. And so after 28 days of taking the reds, greens, and purples, there's no constriction. It's barely measurable, guys. Like, do you see this? So that's spectacular. So that, the difference between this bar here and this bar here in the placebo group, that's the difference between heart attacks and strokes for some people, because they're going to have blood clots floating around. They're going to have plaques of cholesterol floating around, but your arteries not shrinking down will make the difference between you having a heart attack or not, or your loved ones having a heart attack or not. So, like, this is amazing. This stuff will literally save your life. It's big. Do we have a question?
We do. Josh is asking, sometimes these clinical studies are specifically cut off some of it, powered to research things, and then they often find all kinds of things along the way. That said, how many times were they actually looking specifically for the bioavailability as opposed to the researchers having stumbled across that benefit?
I have no idea.
I don't know either, but what I would say about that is that when they're measuring the blood and they're finding, for instance, that it makes, antioxidants go up in your blood and it's measurable, then by definition, they know that it's bioavailable because it got into your bloodstream, it got into the cells, and it did something. So I would suspect that that's probably true, Josh, that they find some things along the way, although I can't really speak to that for sure.
Yeah, I mean, it's some of both. Some of those studies were specifically designed to look for bioavailability, especially at the beginning. And now it's more of a, by the way, they're not so much doing research anymore just to prove that it's bioavailable, because we're 19 studies in, we've made our point. But they keep finding levels improve in various people groups, they measure different antioxidants in different studies because they matter to those particular people groups or disease processes. So they're measuring different ones. So, yeah. Right, let me get out of this. Oh, there we go. So you can see there's several more cardiology studies. They're all spectacular, but I will stop rambling on about heart health because it's one of my favorites. Immune system. This is super important, especially right now in the crazy times we are living in. So there are 5 immune studies. And what is important to understand about your immune system is a couple of things. One is your immune system's super complex and brilliantly designed. And so you have different kinds of cells that do different things. So you actually have 5 different types of white blood cells. And it gets even more complex from there. And so some people have low functioning immune systems, and so they get sick all the time. Some people have overactive immune systems, and they will have autoimmune diseases. And I'm a little bit oversimplifying it, but that's the general gist of it. And so it's really, really important. I know I said the cardiology thing was the most important to take away, but I'm going to say that about this too, because I'm going to cheater like that. It's really important for you to not say that Juice Plus will boost your immune system. Because if you have an autoimmune disease, the last thing you want is to boost your immune system. It's already overactive and attacking your own human body. We don't want more of that. Boosting would be bad for them. What it does is it balances your immune system. And so it might sound like a nitpicky difference, but it's actually a really important distinction because it depends on what kind of problems your particular body has. And so what they show is you have T cells and you have B cells. And so what they show is in people that one needs to come up or down, they actually come into
homeostasis.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
For reading my mind. And they really balance beautifully and they come back to where they should be. So, and it will help you fight off colds and flus. One of the studies they did in nurses in a hospital setting, and they found that they took fewer sick days. They were sick less, and their illnesses were shorter. And those are nurses that are around sick people all the time. So that's a big deal. So it definitely will keep you healthier, but it's really important to not promise people that it's going to make them healthy or keep them from ever getting sick or anything like that. It is going to support their immune system and it's going to balance their immune system. So we're all about supporting and balancing. That's really what fruits and vegetables do for all of our body, but especially our immune system. So does anybody have questions about that? Because I feel like that's an important one.
Yeah, can you specifically show us which of those studies was the one done on nurses, since I haven't, read every single study just yet?
Let's see, I don't remember. It might be the Sharite. Let's see. Reduction of common cold symptoms. No, that's not the nurse one. But it's a really good one. I remember really liking that one. I know it's not sport nutrition. It might be University of Florida. Oh, that's law students. I like this one too. So law students, another very high stress people group. And they show that they're getting sick less. I like that one too. The smokers study. We'll talk about lung health later. Maybe it's Austria. No, that's
the Cobra.
Yeah, I thought the sports medicine one was the Cobra one.
Oh, I don't know.
But no, it's not. The Austria one is.
Yeah, I just remember that it was Austria because I remember when he came and presented it.
I'm not seeing it right now, Josh. We can look later.
Okay. If you're that, share it. And then also, if you could specifically tell us which one of these studies you didn't like. Because, I mean, all of them we come across, they're always so good, so.
There's not any I don't like. They're all really well done.
Uh-huh.
I mean, I don't find the dental health ones to be as riveting as some, but it's still important. So, all right, DNA and nutrigenomics. This is an up and coming field of research that is very new to the scientific community. But what they're finding is more and more our genetics are not our destiny. We used to think so many things were just genetically predisposed to them, and that's just the way it is, and you're going to get breast cancer, you're going to have heart disease or whatever. And while you can have genetic predispositions to things, absolutely, they are finding more and more that our diet and lifestyle habits have the ability to influence those genes and turn genetic switches on and off, which is mind-blowing to me. So this last study, the 2017 study, is amazing, and they found that they were able to turn off and on several hundred. They were turned on, it's like 400 or 500 good genes, and they turned off a couple hundred bad genes. And so who knew that by taking Juice Plus, you might be able to turn off your heart disease gene? Like, that's amazing. You might be able to turn off your breast cancer gene. And so, I mean, we just didn't even know that was a thing 20, 30 years ago. So that's super exciting to me. And more research, I'm sure, will be coming on that in the days and years to come. Oxidative stress. So oxidation is like when you cut open an apple and it starts to get all brown and wrinkly and gross. That's oxidation. It is the breakdown of things from being exposed to oxygen. So oxygen is essential for life, but it's also a little bit toxic, kind of a catch-22. And so it will damage cells when they are exposed to oxygen. And so everything we do causes oxidative stress in our body, exercising especially, but even just the activities of daily life, digesting your food, breathing, all of that causes levels of oxidation. And so antioxidants, you know, we hear about those all the time. That's why they're called that. They're anti-oxidation. So they fight oxidative stress and reduce its effects in our bodies. And so if you think about a fire burning and creating ash, or an engine burning and creating exhaust, and those things are damaging to our world, it's kind of like that in your body. So when you are digesting your food, there is oxidation created as a byproduct, and antioxidants are going to reduce that damage that ash or exhaust can do to your body, so to speak. And so again, you can see there are a lot of clinical research studies showing that it reduces oxidative stress. And so they're measuring that in different cells and different levels, markers of oxidation in the human body. So that's a really big deal, because reducing oxidative stress, and then one of the next ones is inflammation, is a game changer for just about every problem. So.
And the answer is the British Journal of Nutrition.
Is the nurse one?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Got that, Josh? All right, we did oxidative stress, healthy skin. This one is more brief. There's 2 studies on it showing that it improves the thickness and the circulation to your skin. And so, you know, certain people like diabetics will struggle with circulation to extremities. And so to increase your skin thickness and your circulation to your extremities is game changing for some people. I mean, it's great for all of us, and it makes us all prettier, and that's lovely. But it's really a game changer for some people who struggle with their circulation. Next is inflammation, one of my other favorite topics, because inflammation is a root problem of so many things. Anything that ends in itis, and I'm sure some of you have heard me say this, anything that ends in itis means inflammation is a piece of it. So appendicitis is inflammation of your appendix. Arthritis is inflammation of your joints, etc., etc. And so anything that ends in itis, reducing inflammation will help it. It might not cure it. I'm not saying if you take Juice Plus when you get diagnosed with appendicitis, your appendix doesn't need to come out. That's ridiculous. Take that appendix out. But it is going to help you heal faster. It is going to help to reduce the inflammation in your body. And so they've shown 5 different times measuring different inflammatory markers like CRP and SED rate and some of those, that it reduces inflammation in the body. And inflammation is just a root problem of so many things in our world. So to reduce inflammation is going to prevent problems in the long run. So that is amazing. Guys, we're running out of boxes here. Quality of life, they did a study on ovarian cancer survivors at MD Anderson, which is a hugely prestigious cancer center in Texas. And they showed, and this is big because some people still believe that soy is bad for women because it's kind of a pseudo estrogen protein. And so they think that it is dangerous. And so they avoid soy at all costs. But actually, Asian cultures that consume a much higher percentage of soy than our Western world actually have, as a general rule, much lower incidences of reproductive cancers as compared to the Western world. So I've always thought that debunked that anyway. But MD Anderson clearly does not believe that soy is a problem for their ovarian cancer survivors, or they wouldn't have done a whole study around it. So that speaks volumes to me on the soy topic, which is just kind of a by the way. And they found in those ovarian cancer survivors that taking Juice Plus and using Complete was able to replace the equivalent of several servings of fruits and vegetables in their diet. So not that we ever want to suggest that people not eat fruits and vegetables and just take their Juice Plus, but it really does help to bridge the gap, which is cool. And then obesity, they have done 4 studies in all different age groups. So there's 2 in children and 2 in adults, showing that it can decrease the fat storage and improve insulin resistance, which is kind of the precursor to diabetes. And so they were able to improve the insulin resistance in preteen boys, which is really cool, because obesity in children is a very high predictor of obesity in adulthood and significant medical problems later on. And so to be able to intervene in the lives of our children and the generations to come and improve their health picture is, I mean, it's going to be big, because that is going to be significant rising health costs for our world to raise up a generation that is much sicker than us. And so this is very exciting for anybody struggling with diabetes or obesity or anything like that. And then last, but certainly not least, is lung health, which is not opening. There we go. I love this study. I know I said that about like half of them, but I really do like this one because they fed Juice Plus to smokers and they had them keep smoking because they wanted to see what would happen. So smoking is one of those things that causes lots of oxidative stress and lots of damage to our body, and we all know that. But what they found was their pulmonary function, their lung function improved when they were taking Juice Plus, even though they were still smoking just as much as they always had been. And so it's another one of those studies that shows Juice Plus protects my body even when I don't make great choices. And so should I eat fewer cheeseburgers? Should I not smoke? Yeah, definitely. But it's going to protect my body when I can't or won't make those wise choices. And that makes me feel really happy for me. And it makes me feel really happy as a wife and a mom to know it's protecting my family. So I really love that. And they don't have the new Omega study here anywhere yet. But the new Omega study is spectacular and shows significant improvement in the omega markers that they watch. which not only improve your omega levels, but that's really a marker they use to watch for risk of cardiovascular problems, because omega deficiency is a big deal for that. There's also research, not Juice Plus research, but just research in general that's up and coming, that's linking omega deficiency to postpartum depression. And so this is a really big deal for all the people in our lives, but especially anybody at risk for cardiovascular stuff and anybody of childbearing age, because baby tends to take whatever baby needs and leave mom high and dry a little bit. And so they think that's what's happening. It's a component of postpartum depression. So if we could help some of the mamas in our life not struggle with that so much, I did that even with omegas. If we could help them do that less, that would just like make my day, my week. So that's kind of the overview of everything, the short version. Tell me, questions? And you're all muted, so you'll have to unmute yourself if you have more questions. I can stop sharing too.
I'll ask a question.
Go for it.
Okay. I really am not like trying to throw things out there to stump, but thank you for finding that, Melanie, also known as Mindy's assistant. So about the British Journal.
I have a really good looking assistant, don't I?
I mean, the apple does not fall far from the tree. So yeah.
Oh.
So the question is, I remember when they first out with the omega study results, and it always takes a while to connect that to technology and put it up in a way that presents well and all that. But they said something about they measured the omega index, and I never have looked into what that is, and I'm wondering if you did or if you already knew what that was, and what are we supposed to take from that about the omega index?
Well, that's that marker for cardiovascular risk it's one of the markers they use for cardiovascular risk. So when it's a measurement of a couple different omegas. And if I had the study in front of me, I could explain more in depth, but it's not on the website yet. But it's something they use to watch for cardiovascular risk. And when it is a certain level, the doctor will be concerned and kind of pursue other things to support your cardiovascular system because you're at fairly imminent risk of heart attack.
And is that the sort of thing that we can ask our MD? Like, can you take the test for the omega index when you go?
I'm sure it is, yeah.
Yeah, okay. All right, well, I will throw that in my battery of questions.
Yeah, it's becoming more of a common thing to check. It didn't used to be so common. So it depends on how current that particular doctor is on research and current practice, specifically around omegas, but yeah.
Nice. Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
So I just want to say that I want you guys to feel empowered by the research. I'm not a science person. I don't know how I gave birth to one. I don't know, something weird happened with the genetics there, but I'm not. I mean, I've been around for over 14 years, so I can talk pretty intelligently about the research by now, just, from the sheer repetition of it. But all the questions that your prospects and your customers answer, I mean, the answer to almost every question is the research. Because we know those things that she showed you, we call those the promises of Juice Plus. We know that when you take Juice Plus, that it's going to get into your bloodstream and do great things. It's going to help your cardiovascular function. It's going to help your teeth and your gums and your skin. And it's going to protect your DNA. And it's going to reduce some systemic inflammation in the body. We can promise you it's going to reduce systemic inflammation in the body. But what we can't promise you is what that's going to look like. And we do not make claims. So when I talk to people, I can say, I know this about the research and you have arthritis. It's really helped my arthritis. This is it makes sense to me why that could happen because of what the research says. And so what I say to people is, what do you have to lose? Why not give it a try? It'll be fun to see what it does in your body. But we know that it works because of the research, and we can just really feel bulletproof because there is no other nutraceutical product out there with the kind of research that we have, and everybody's way behind the 8 ball trying to catch up with us. Like, you guys, you should feel so proud of the company that you work for and the product that you're putting in your body every day. It's just really, truly amazing. So I want you to feel really good about that. And even if you don't understand the research, you can have enough understanding of it to say, these are the promises of Juice Plus. I know it does this in the body. It's been shown to do that over and over and over. It'll be fun to see what happens in your body when you get this nutrition in you. And so just know that it's something that's out there. And then when you're talking to people in your life who are medical professionals or they just enjoy science, to know that you can just give them that link to that place on your website that we were just looking at with Mindy, and just let them go hog wild on it, because they're going to know what to do with it. So I just want you to feel empowered by the research. It's profound, and they just keep cranking out more studies. So it's very, very exciting. And thank you.
You're welcome.
So much to Mindy for explaining the research to us. So is there a last question before we're done for the evening?
I do. I was late because I see my nurse tomorrow to see if my cholesterol's down, which it will be. What were you through? Like, where is that? Or
That's on your website. So
my web. Oh, so when I pull up my website, those little green things they can click on.
yeah, so one of them is the research results, and so it has all those tabs, and then each tab has the link to every article.
Was this helpful, you guys?
Super helpful. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, and we can
Yes, it was.
we can always do it again, and we can always have her do it for your prospects as well.
Mm-hmm.
So give us some feedback. Let your sponsor know, and maybe we'll do it again.
We have to do it again with this lady Natalie that I see tomorrow, but you're not a morning person. I have my fasting work at 7:30 a.m. when I talk to her.
Yeah, I'll be sleeping.
Well,
Yeah.
awesome. And this was recorded, but we will do it again.
It wasn't recorded?
It was.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, good. Cool.
Thanks for coming out, you guys, and stay tuned about what's going to be happening on our team call in the next couple of weeks.
Thank you, Mindy.
You're welcome. Love you guys.
Thanks,
Thank
Mindy.
you.